Some people don't learn until life punches them in the ego. And today? Today we're handing out hits. A scammer gets his entire world flipped back on him. A narcissistic boss finally gets exposed. A teacher learns why you don't bully kids. And a wannabe football legend ends up framed. Literally. These aren't soft stories, these are precision strikes. Let's get into the revenge. Our first story starts with a scammer who thought he was untouchable. A smooth talker pretending to be from the bank, tapping into a mother's trust while silently breaking into her accounts, one by one. But here's the thing about people who think they control everything. It only takes one mistake for their entire game to collapse, because this scammer, he didn't just pick the wrong target, he picked a family ready to fight back. And what happened to his phone will live in his nightmares. Let's start with the hacker who got hacked. Not too long ago, my mother got her information stolen. Some call from her bank phone number, and some guy answered saying he worked with the fraud detection alongside the bank and the FBI, giving her the name Jimmy Anderson. Sounds fake as all heck. He made it seem pretty believable, and she gave him a lot of info. We soon realized that this man was a scammer who was hacking into her stuff as they were on the phone. He got into her bank account, her email, her Venmo, and her Walmart account. He tried to take $2,300 out of her bank account after she was told the card was frozen. The card was declined, thankfully. He didn't get any money. She couldn't get back in through her phone. She went to the bank and got the account shut down so he didn't have any more access to it. And then, there it was. The computer. With computers, logging into Google and Gmail is easy. We got into the Gmail account with nothing but a computer password verification. No asking for the password, nothing. Changed the password and deleted all the saved passwords from the Gmail account. His phone had been saved as one of the devices in the account. Location, Vietnam. We decided to send a request to factory reset his phone. We went through the emails to see what else he had gotten into. We tried to work on Walmart, which is still a work in progress. The problem child was Venmo. It wouldn't let us in without texting the verification code. The number on it has been changed. My mom found the handy dandy forgot password button later and managed to change the password without needing the verification text and get in with email instead. Bye-bye Venmo account. She has a new phone now, since he had managed to access the phone itself, possibly with some sort of malware. We had found some notifications that someone was trying to change the password in Walmart the day before. They were messing with it for 2 days. He has no more access to anything. All the data was completely wiped before he could get anything out of it. I can just imagine how much he was freaking out when he couldn't get access to anything anymore. I hope karma serves you well, Jimmy Anderson. Cue the happy dance. We have hacked the hacker. Update 13 hours later. We got Walmart back. I signed out on her account and lo and behold, forgot password. The phone number on it was the same, so my mom was the one who got the verification code, and I used the email we got back to completely get in. No more for you, Jimmy. The next story takes us from digital scammer to a different kind of villain. A boss who built her entire career on fear. She crushed her team, thrived on humiliation, and treated burnout like a personal failure. But even narcissists forget one thing. The higher they climb, the harder the fall feels when someone finally pushes back. And in this case, that push came from the most unexpected place. A $25 revenge spell from Etsy. Call it superstition, call it karma, call it whatever you want. But what happened next shook the entire department. Let's dive into the Etsy spell that exposed a toxic boss. I paid an Etsy witch to put a revenge spell on my toxic former manager, and I think it worked. Context: my previous workplace was downright abusive. Our managers would berate us, single us out, humiliate us, and throw us under the bus for anything and everything. Everyone was miserable, no one felt safe, and working late into the night over the weekend was the rule, not the exception. Our department head was the worst of them all. A classic narcissist who loved threatening people, putting people down, and pitting people against one another. The fish was rotting from the head, so to speak. It all trickled down from her. She was a real piece of work, to say the very least. Anyways, I worked there for a while, and at the beginning, I was a star employee. I was promoted, I was selected for important projects, I had a good reputation in the organization, and so on. But I could only cope with the madness for so long. Eventually, I became completely burnt out, broken down, and demotivated. I just couldn't do it anymore. It got so bad that I had to go on SSRIs, returned to consistent therapy, suffered significant weight gain, withdrew socially, etc. I know, poor me, but you guys get it. It sucks, and it's inescapable. Naturally, my performance suffered, and my evil department head used my rapid plus noticeable decline as an excuse to round up a posse and push me out, firing me unexpectedly a little while back. In retrospect, she did me a huge favor. That place was poison, and I found a way better job after a few months of unemployment, rediscovering my will to live in Trocess. Hooray! But at the time, I was super bitter and angry, and who could blame me? I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I know I'm a good colleague, a solid contributor, and an empathetic human being. Why am I the one being punished and also canned? So, yes, I did it. I paid an Etsy witch $25 to cast a revenge spell to my toxic former department head. I did it. It made me feel better, and I did not expect it to actually work or do anything. I just wanted to do something to bend the arc of the universe back toward justice. I want to make it very clear that this spell was not meant to physically harm her or damage her personal life in any way. It was specifically tailored to her career. The idea being that it would reveal her true nature and return the negative, toxic energy she put out into the world back to sender. Essentially giving her a taste of her own medicine. That was a few months ago. I had almost completely forgotten about it until a former colleague, now friend, messaged me about a major shakeup happening on the team. There was a major reckoning. HR got involved, people spoke candidly, the truth came out, and the extent of her nastiness came to light. I couldn't believe it. They actually removed her from her position and stripped her of her title, her people managing responsibilities. Not fired, but definitely transferred and demoted. I guess what I'm saying is, Etsy magic isn't something to take lightly. It might end up working, so cast internet spells at your own risk. And for those who don't believe in e-commerce-based witchcraft, at least this shows that narc managers do face consequences for their actions, and they're not completely invincible. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of hope. So in the end, the boss who ruled through fear finally faced the truth she'd spent years hiding. Not because of HR, not because of policies, but because the people she stepped on finally spoke up. And maybe, just maybe, because a tiny bit of Etsy karma helped speed things along. But here's the real question. Was this justice? Or was it pure coincidence pretending to be a curse? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want more wild revenge stories just like this one, make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss what comes next. Our next story takes us back to school, but not the fun kind. This is the kind of classroom where the bullies don't sit in the desks. They stand at the front of the room. A math teacher who hated anything average, who mocked her own students' hair, clothes, and confidence, and who somehow thought her gossip carried more weight than her lessons. But here's the thing about people who judge you from the outside. They always assume they know who you are, until reality hits them in the face. Because one unexpected moment in one very exclusive place was all it took to flip the entire power dynamic and expose exactly who this teacher really was. Let's get into the tiny revenge that shattered a big ego. My tiny revenge on my math teacher. This story is quite old, but I sometimes feel like telling it. Also sorry if this is too long. So, when I was young, my father's job required constant moving. I never stayed in a school for over 3 years. In one of those schools I attended 6th grade in, my math teacher really disliked me. This school was insanely upscale, the type where every students all had the privilege and brains to attend Ivy League schools. I was an average student who was better at arts and not that smart with numbers. My teacher didn't like how average I am, especially that my older school allowed using calculators starting 4th grade, which this school allowed only starting 9th grade, so I had to relearn everything. I was bullied in my class and requested transferring to another one. I later realized the other class didn't want me, as she had gossiped with the popular girls about me, calling me weird, not smart, bullying my non-existent style, and mocking me for not having a flagship phone. This school was completely top tier. Every child had the latest iPhone, latest Kylie lip kit, latest micro trend. It was a stereotypical private school which my parents happened to afford due to an amazing job my dad took. Anyways, she mocked my inability to tame my curly hair. It was always frizzy, but I was 11 for God's sake. Only 3 girls attended my birthday party, which I made hoping to connect with them. Later found out it was due to her gossip and judgment, assuming I'm not rich enough. She put me on the spot with backhanded comments such as, "Let's all clap for OP since she finally followed that hair routine I advised her. Look at how less frizzy her hair is." And even tried to get me lower to 5th grade due to not being smart with math, despite doing well in other subjects. What she didn't know is that at that time, I lived in an extra private gated community where every resident is interviewed before moving, and visitors have to submit requests to be allowed entry. But how would she know if she hadn't gotten to know me? Anyways, I lived in Saudi Arabia at the time, and it was hella conservative. The place I lived at was known for having a huge Halloween festival every year. I invited the 3 friends I had and met her there. She gave me the stinkiest look and coldly said, "Oh, OP, how are you? How did you even enter?" I smiled and told her I lived there. I have never seen her look that shocked. My friends also posted stories about the party, and word got around that I lived there, which made me more popular and liked in school. That's also the reason the popular girl spoke to me and later told me about all her bullying. So, word got around. More kids knew about her bullying and gossiping. And she started praising my every little achievement, hoping to get on my good side and possibly get an invite to the next event at my neighborhood. I thankfully left that school the next year, mid-semester. I don't know what happened to her at school. All I know, this impacted her reputation and made her way less likable, and I never gave her that invited she wanted really badly. And for our final story, we're leaving classrooms and offices behind and heading straight to the locker room, where egos are big and self-awareness is basically extinct. Every team has that one guy, the loud one, the I carry the whole defense guy. The one who talks like a legend, but plays like a rumor. So when he didn't get the end of season honor he thought he deserved, he tried to fake it and asked the wrong person for help. What he got instead was a masterpiece of petty revenge that's been hanging crooked behind his desk ever since. Before we jump in, if you're enjoying these revenge stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more coming. The crooked jersey frame that got me sweet, petty revenge. A few years ago, I played on this local football team with a guy who thought he was God's gift to our defense. He would always brag about being the heart of the team, even though half the time he showed up late or never at all. One day, after I made a mistake that cost us a game, he loudly told everyone in the locker room, maybe next time we let people who can actually play start. Yeah, real classy guy. When the season ended, the coach made framed jerseys for a few of us who had been consistent. Guess who didn't get one? Yep, Mr. Heart of the team. Fast forward a month and I get a text from him asking if I could help him make a jersey frame that looked like the official ones. Apparently, he wanted to hang it in his office to motivate the next generation. Funny guy. I said sure because I had nothing better to do and maybe a small streak of mischief brewing. So, I helped him out. Sort of. I used an old frame I had lying around, trimmed it slightly uneven, and placed the jersey just crooked enough that you couldn't notice at first glance, but once you did, it would forever bother you. He was thrilled with it. He even took a picture for Instagram. To this day, it still hangs proudly behind his desk, tilted like it's ashamed of the lie. And oh, the funniest part? The inspiration frame he showed me as a reference was some fancy one he'd seen on Alibaba. Fitting. And that's it. 4 stories proving that revenge doesn't always need to be loud. Sometimes the quiet hits leave the deepest cracks. If you made it this far, you're officially part of the Chaos Crew. So tell me, which story was your favorite? The scammer meltdown, the cursed boss, the classroom ego collapse, or the crooked jersey hanging like a confession? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want more stories where karma shows no mercy, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more coming. And trust me, you don't want to miss the next one.